Hello and welcome back to the Hammond Hills Disc Golf Grand Prix, sponsored by 616 Great Lakes Discraft and Wolfpack Discs. Super happy to be back here for round two's coverage. Super excited to see how this is going to end. My name is Zach O'Haron, and on the commentator's mic, you have myself and Donut. How you doing, Donut?
I'm doing just great.
Super excited to have you here. Ian with the hot round, last round. Really tough course to score on. As you can see from the scores, most people actually are over par. Really tight for that kind of 4th through 5th position there. But we have a epic card here, starting off with Ian Hamilton, who's got some tricks up his sleeve here.
How'd you do?
I don't know, but you're walking up the hill backwards. And
Willie Prince here. Didn't shoot the best round one. Still 10.06 rated.
Yeah. Got Mr. Joe Deur here. Super excited to see him. Throws a lot of Axiom and MVP.
And legend of disc golf stocks, Scott Stokely, making a stop around Grand Rapids.
Yeah. Was not playing an MPO before, like right before the event started.
Yeah, he was
and
playing
then
an MP40 and then
switched over.
decided to move down and play with the little kids.
Yeah. So
he said.
Headed here again, hole 1, par 3, 260 feet. This is kind of your must-get kind of classic here for this tournament. Really tough to score on a lot of holes here, so we're looking to take advantage of the ones that we can attack, and this is the first one. Ian, I'm not sure what he's throwing. I think AVR X3 probably out of his hand.
That's what I would guess.
He's got a 3-stroke lead, pretty comfortable. So far, he's going to have to continue to shoot well. But
that was a bad drive.
Yeah, that was off to the right. And as soon as he threw it, he turned around. He's like, well, that's where I was last round, too. I'm like, all right, I guess you know what you're doing. Oh, this looks left from Willie.
It's a great kick, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
It's a long putt from there.
And that's kind of the story of Willie's forehand, though.
Yeah.
Is he's just right there.
This is looking good down the line. Yeah, there you go. Ooh.
What a horrible lie after a great drive.
Great shot. So, this is a felon.
Scott Stokely doesn't have the most modern forehand form, but he's been doing this for like 30 years, throwing exclusively forehands.
He just made an announcement that he's going back on the Pro Tour again, starting next year.
And he's only going to throw forehands there, too.
Yeah, sure is. A side note kind of story here for the event. Scott was unfortunately burglarized before this event.
Burglarized?
Just making up words. But seriously, he did have his bag stolen. So he almost has none of his normal discs. He has like a felon and then a couple putters that he's like comfortable with.
Someone gave him a bag and then these are all these discs are his as far as I understand, but he hasn't thrown any of them. They're
right.
just like discs that are on his floor. I believe that's some sort of like what the story is.
So I mean, he shot par, just shot a birdie. He's one down right now through a round in one hole, and we're going to see if he can keep that going.
What a brutal lie.
Yeah, he's got to go through the trees.
Oh, what a putt from Joe Deur here. Slamming it in. Kind of a loft putt.
Take whatever you can get here.
That lie was so obstructed, there was nothing there.
Yeah. Good putt from Willie, making the par, and Ian Hamilton from a not so good position off the tee is going to have it himself.
He can step out.
Is he going through the tree?
No, he's got to be able to step out to the right.
He's got to be to the side of it, right?
Yeah, he's a big enough guy that he can
Nope,
kind of swing
through
around.
the tree. I mean, he saw Joe do it, figured out what the line was, and says, well, I'm just going to do it too. All right, hole 2 here, 282 feet. Just like we saw last round, we're going to see a lot of hyzers probably come out of this hole. And like you said earlier, you can't go too high because there's lots of foliage up high, and if you go too low, you can't really attack this green. It's definitely a tricky position. Sitting on top of this hill, it does drop off a little bit at the other side, so you can kind of play back and forth if you're not careful.
Yeah, not too difficult to get yourself just outside circle here, but extremely difficult to give yourself a confident putt on this basket because it's elevated and it's got to drop off on both sides.
Not sure what Joe's throwing. I'm not very familiar with the MVP and Axiom lineups, but he's going low, and he's in the fairway.
Yeah, that looks like a 3-play to me. He might have a run at the basket, but he's definitely not giving himself a great opportunity for the 2.
Got Scott here.
Backhand drive count at 1 for Scott.
Ian said the same thing as that last round. Scott, I think, threw 2
2.
backhands.
I think he's going to do the same this round.
Same thing this round. And again, he's going the low route. You're probably, that's probably the layup play. And he hit some early foliage, but again, from that position, he should be able to get up and onto the hill and hopefully be able to tap in a 3. Willie is definitely going to try to go for this one through the Raptor.
Huge miss way inside, though.
Yeah, this is far left. He needed that to be pushed way right. Ian with his favorite disc in his bag, the Champion Polecat.
Didn't see that one coming. Got that Razor Claw stamp on it, though.
So he's
Willie way outside.
pushing the road, but wasn't there that far quite yet.
He's still 50 feet from the road, even with a huge miss. Scott from deep.
Oh, don't you dare. Stop it. Sit.
I love the professional attitude from Scott there. You can kind of see him. A lot of the younger pros that are trying to make it would be really upset with that rollaway there. Mm-hmm. But Scott's totally fine with this rollaway because he still has a putt.
Right.
All he wanted to do was not roll way down the hill.
Dang, he misses a left.
He can't convert on it, but...
He even did it just then, too. He looked at you and said, still sitting on the backside of the hill, right? He's like, it's going to be a tap-in? He said, yep.
Sort of.
He said, cool. But you're right, his mental game to that. Even that first rollaway, when it stopped, he even said out loud, he's like, I that's a putt.
Yep.
Like, he just wasn't worried about it. He's very similar to Raven, who we filmed.
Raven does the same thing. He's just trying to give himself an opportunity to make a putt.
Yep.
Because he knows that he's put in the work and he's done the practice that he can make putts.
Yep.
And he came out here to make putts.
Literally.
Especially you have to be like that, being the forehand only guy, because you're not every single hole you're going to be able to put yourself into the basket, so you have to lean on some putts.
Hole 3 now, 306 feet. Again, putter backhand is what we'll see a lot from these guys, except for Scott. Probably he'll throw a forehand felon.
Almost sure he's not going to throw a putter backhand. I don't think he's going to throw either of those things.
Yeah, it's, so we'll see what his play is. It's fine to see that though. And
I love watching
it's
it.
Great to watch a guy whose quality and pro level is good enough to like actually make this play. We do have some more wind in this round, I do remember.
By quite some margin.
Yeah, it's much more consistent, less gusty, and much more just blowing. Joe there with an early left there. I wonder if that's that new mid-range from
This
MVP.
looks like a rock from Ian.
Yeah, this is a rock from Ian. He's just throwing a soft glow rock, I believe. Punches through that first bush, but doesn't get through the second one. He'll have a long look for...
He's got a 40-foot
long
or
look
45.
for 2, yeah. Oh, look, he's throwing a Challenger OS. Who'd have guessed?
Probably me.
Yeah. And if you follow Willie at all, probably everyone.
Yeah.
But he's really good at it. Throwing this one a little higher than he did in the previous round. Gets a good tree kick, honestly, and he's put himself just inside circle, 28 feet.
Yeah, that's... Willie loves doing that.
Felon.
So something Scott had to do here, because he's throwing with these discs he's never really got dialed in. He's throwing all these molds, obviously.
Wow, drives the home.
But, he's going to lean on like 2 or 3 discs, especially for the drivers for this round, because he just doesn't have that wide range of discs that he knows exactly how they're going to fly.
Right.
So he's going to take 2 or 3 discs that he's comfortable with and try to manipulate the flight of them. Oh, Ian, that looks so good. He loved that online. You do not see a lot of high misses from Ian.
Yeah.
He's kind of the king of the cage on the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
He either slips right in over it most of the time, and then his misses that he does make are low.
Wow, Willie. It's been such a long time since I've seen Willie struggle with his putting like this. He's been so consistent. Oh, Joe can't save his par.
Yeah, those high outside putts this basket doesn't really like.
No, it's too soft.
The baskets with a lot less chains, like high outside putts that are soft, and they can just kind of drop in. There's nothing in their way.
Right.
But these baskets really push those out. They're rewarding the firm, center, hard putts and kind of punishing some of the ones on the outside of the chains there.
There you go.
Willie converting, hasn't made a comeback, missed a comebacker yet.
He's like Reed today. Reed, I don't think
I've never heard a story of Reed
missing a comeback putt. Yeah. Even when we did the Kalamazoo Open, he made that, the 60-footer comeback up the hill putt.
Unfortunate bogey from Joe here.
Yeah. So, all right, hole 4 here, 338 feet. Like we said in the previous round, you want to throw a fairway driver or a driver above the basket here. You have an open fairway into this gap that's probably 30 feet wide. And then you want to kind of land on the left side here on the hill. Hopefully let it get a chance to kind of stay on top of the hill there. But lots of rollaway opportunities for this particular hole. It's so flat and hard that...
And then I didn't get a chance to see this on catch cam. I was just a little behind, but we have to give a shout out to Benji Zorn on chase card right in front of us. Aced this hole. Went real high backhand, and then he kind of snuck into the cage and didn't smash the chains at all. Had no idea he aced until the entire card walked up to the basket. And they all went, "Who is that?" They thought maybe one of the previous cards had left the disc in, but there. That was Benji's. It had his name on it.
Very cool.
Just dunked it from the tee.
Ian on the right side there should have an easy up and down or a look to go up and down.
Willie rolling round 1.
Stop.
I'm not sure if that's the play. Willie rolling round 2 as well.
Good drives for him. Like, he's on target, just can't quite get it. You had talked about a forehand in round 1.
It's a really tough forehand.
Yeah, and
you're putting the skip so much into play.
That needs to hit something or sit down or... good bush.
Yeah, so he hit high, played some Planko, and then rolled with a lot of gas and got caught up in a bush really, really early. This looks really high and inside. Or, low to the ground, but high up the slope.
High up the hill. Hits that last big tree that he kind of needed to miss.
This is a rough layup.
Yeah, this is hard. Like, this is just...
That looks like a run, too.
Yeah,
kind of in between.
Yeah.
Great set from him. That'll be an easy 3. Kind of getting out of this hole is really what you want when you're not in position.
Surprisingly played as the easiest hole in round 1. Oh, don't you dare. Yeah. Ian's...
Trying to keep his head under control after some stressful moments. Going with the upside down putt.
And that's Ian realizing that Ben aced it. He's like, why is
saying, how in the heck did someone get that into the basket? Why is the CTP on top?
Yeah. He's like, we didn't hear him yell.
Yeah, that is what he said. He's confused why there was no yell. Yeah. He didn't know.
A little wide right from Willie. Got Scott here with a birdie opportunity.
Oh my God,
and you can hear him in the... He hated it. He's like, he didn't deserve that. That was so wide right, but apparently not wide enough to miss.
Yeah, the firm wide putts are great because it kind of slams inside of the chains. Mm-hmm. The soft ones just get thrown to the ground, though.
For this round, this hole still played as the easiest, but played a little harder than round 1 because of the wind, I'm assuming. But Benji says helped it stay at a negative 0.2 average. Good ace.
Yeah, that's such a sick one. There's not going to be a lot of aces on that hole ever.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, hole 5 now. 352 feet. You want to throw a forehand through this gap high so that it kind of penetrates over these little small trees and into the green on the right side. Or you can throw a backhand kind of like in the inside of that turn there and try to scoot it up into the basket.
Yeah, the hook is so far to the right that you really don't want to throw like a sky hyzer forehand like you see a lot of people do. You kind of want to hit the gap not super high, but throw nose up so it still stalls out.
Whoa.
This is a sky hyzer, so there's some foliage up there that Scott's putting into play, but he's got all the power.
Mm-hmm.
Catches a little bit, gonna put himself probably 45 feet.
Yeah, just outside, circle 2 for sure. Ian's gonna go with the rock, and as soon as Ian let this go, like as soon as it came out of his hand, the moment it did, first of all, Willie was like, "That's a great shot," and I can't believe I didn't think of that because he threw a forehand last round.
Yeah,
so
now Willie's gonna throw a putter to try to show him up. This looks like his Challenger OS.
Yeah, it is. Oh, if he had practiced it in round 1, he might have had a chance.
Willie had a great forehand round 1.
No, it was in the wide right in the bush.
He gave himself a look.
It was a bad spot for him.
That's the play right here. Nose up forehand, kind of into the gap.
Just not quite enough power there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the right disc choice, maybe. That thing hooked up quick.
Willie going...
I know Joe does have a solid forehand with some solid power. Ooh.
Interesting. Oh, my. Kick into a kick. I would not have expected Willie to go with a forehand upshot with his own there. Both he and Ian matching shot for shot, just shooting par over and over again.
I think Ian might too this one, though.
Ian might too this one. That's fair.
He's right up by the basket.
Oh, my. This is rough.
Let's go. Overhand putter from Willie. He's taking a shot out of my book. He must have been watching some old Crew 42 footage.
It's an unfortunate tree, but he'll have a putt for bogey there. Scott with another birdie. Yes, sir.
That's a great putt from outside from Scott. Really needs to convert on these forehand holes, because some of them are going to be really tough for his game.
Willie really needs to make this and not let this hole get away from him. And makes the correction. He had missed wide right twice back-to-back, so it's good for him to lock that back in. Get himself a putt from good distance, and hopefully that locks him in.
Yeah, he is falling 2 strokes to Ian here, so he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, right now it feels like Ian was like kind of getting challenged. He was 3 strokes up, and now he's 5 strokes up, and that's,
on this course,
that's a lot.
It's Ian's to lose. It's hardly Willie's to win at this point.
Yeah.
When Joe and Scott are now tied at that 2 down.
Yeah. Hole 6 now, par 4, 404 feet. This is the landing zone in this first area if you're kind of laying it up, playing it safe. Lots of wind on this hole, so you got to watch out for that. Then your upshot here up towards the basket. You really don't want to go deep. Hobie, you kind of said it earlier where if you kind of leave it too high, you can find yourself 100 feet past this basket and 80 feet downhill. And
you can go so far down.
Yeah, this is so dangerous. I didn't talk about it last round, but there is a gap on the right side. Over the hill on that right.
Don't do it. It's bad.
I that's the only gap I've ever taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've never even come close to bogey in this hole.
Scott putting himself way inside, a little too much hyzer. He really wants to get that disc a little flatter. I think he was trying to flip it up, but he tried to bite too much off.
Ian has a solid forehand as well. Surprised to see him just.
His forehand doesn't go that far though.
Sure. I think his forehand he's got a really solid forehand, but I think it's only going to go 300 feet. And I think he thinks he can get the rock the same distance. Sure.
So might as well.
Oh no! Right into the ground.
I think if there's a birdie opportunity a 2 opportunity, he'd take the forehand, but I think it's way outside Eaton's range.
So right before Willie threw this, before he threw this, he's going to go on that right side. He was like talking to me about that right gap, and I can't caddy obviously while we're playing, but I really, really wanted to tell him to go for it, but
it's just not our place as
media
people.
We should never influence someone's decision and to determine, like during a round at least, between rounds, and we can talk to people about their play or whatever, but never caddy them. And that was an opportunity that I've never struggled with that, like not giving people advice. I've always been very comfortable not doing that, but that was a moment I felt weakness there.
Yeah, Willie has not prepped on this longs layout, so he was unsure of a couple. He's played this course plenty before.
Sure.
But it's been a while, and so he just didn't have the prep on this hole. And I think if he played this event again, he would be taking that backhand gap.
Yeah, he's going to go big and up and hopefully get himself out of this. And, yeah, he's out there. He's going to have a par look. It's going to be really dangerous. He might want to lay up to take that bogey instead. But Ian here, turnover.
Just trying to throw it as soft as possible, so even if it does get caught by the wind, it's not going to keep flying.
Right. Scott with an unfortunate upshot hits an early tree, so he's going to have this shot. And I don't know if it came out of his hand, but he knew it wasn't good.
He got some good action on there. I think it's better than he thinks it is, but it's going to be a really tough run.
Is he putting this upside down?
Absolutely. I love this so much. Disc golfers need to do this more at every level. Amateurs, pros, even top pros. If you do not want your disc to pick up an edge and really cut, if you throw a slow disc upside down, it's just going to scoot forward. That's all it's ever going to do. And Willie just understanding that he needs to get this under the basket and mitigate the damage.
Yeah.
Little run from Scott, little run from Joe. Both of them fortunate to
not go anywhere.
Throw it soft enough so that it didn't go flying. Ian close enough, especially with his very low and hard and committed putt.
Yeah, he
He
jams
can
it.
slam it into the basket. Great birdie from Ian.
Yeah, that's a solid pickup.
Honestly, a solid par, including the layup for Joe here.
He's one of 5 birdies on this particular round from Ian there. He's going to gain 2 strokes on Willie again, and you're going to find him, and on Scott. He's going to find himself.
Yeah, Joe's the chaser here, at least on our lead card.
Hole 7, par 3 here, not a par 4, 411 feet uphill, very difficult. The gap that the drone's going to fly through here is the gap that you want to hit. It is very tight. If you're standing there, it's way tighter than it looks. Even I have some trouble with the drone hitting this particular gap. You just want to get out here as clean as possible. Give yourself a look if you have that power. And if you don't have that power, then you just want an easy upshot, get your 3, and get out.
Yeah, I can't really lay up on this hole, unfortunately, off the tee. But you kind of have to go for it. It's really, really awkward hole.
This has got to miss that tree, and it does. Ian does a nice job of just pumping it out there, and this is ideal. Like, he's got a long, really look at it. Realistically,
60 or 70 foot.
Yeah,
and
way
uphill.
Yeah, and he's in so much control right now. He's up by 6 strokes. He'll probably just lay it up anyway. But I mean,
it's uphill. You can kind of send one at the basket, and it's not that much danger. The hill's not that steep, so your huge rollaways aren't.
Ooh, that's got to stop.
What a brutal kick.
That's the second one we've seen. We saw Willie do it in round 1, and we're gonna see a forehand here. Saw Carl do the same thing. He's
going straight gap. I actually like the left gap with the forehand. You can kind of penetrate a little far up. It's kind of a layup play if there is one. I assume he's playing this course blind as the first round. This is his second time seeing the course at the very least.
Who, Scott?
Yeah.
He played a practice round when he featured
did. He featured this
hole.
Yeah, with
the patio.
The patio and the little roof thing.
I mean, this course is absolutely beautiful. He's not throwing the felon. What is this again?
That's a Z Undertaker.
Alrighty then.
With an American flag stamp. Not what I expect from Scott Stokely, but you got to make the best of your opportunities, and he doesn't have his bag with him, unfortunately, so that's what he's throwing.
I feel bad. It's so hard to hear that. We had a similar story at States where somebody's car got broken into, and they took everything. And
it is so great to see someone of this caliber be able to, make lead card as some random C tier with just a bunch of discs he, not necessarily found, but he pulled these out of nowhere.
Right. Joe with an unfortunate kick there. Can't quite.
Ian with a huge look.
Oh, no.
Not really running it. And then shout out to Sam Smeagol as the only 2 in round 2 on this hole. I don't think anyone got it in round 1 as well, but he made a putt from behind where Ian is.
Really?
Yeah, it was like an 85-foot putt.
Yeah, no birdies in round 1 on this hole.
Huge toss from Sam Spiegel. Got a great 2 on a really, really tough hole.
Just off the top of the basket from Scott there. Almost a great par save. That was kind of a conversation a lot of people had, was talking about par. I think this being a par 3 is fine. I think it's a tweener at best.
A really, really hard par 3.
Yeah. And it would be, in my mind, a pretty simple par 4 because you can mess up and still take a 4.
It's nice that it doesn't really change the play of any of these people.
Right.
I mean, they're choosing a number in their head that they want to try to attack.
Yeah.
And they don't really get it in their head whether it's a par or a bogey or a birdie. They have a number that they want to get, and they're either going to execute it or they're not.
Right. Hole 8 here. Now, we talked about this hole last round. It's that dogleg horseshoe, 280 feet. You want to kind of misfire the shot far left to give yourself a chance at the birdie. Scott, when he played round 1, wasn't registered in the PDGA Live under MPO yet because they kind of scrambled to do that. So we didn't see any of those things. He actually birdied this hole in round 1.
As a forehand player.
Yes, as a forehand player.
Do you know what he did in round 1? How he got it there?
I don't remember.
I think he threw inside gap. I think he just threw at it.
Yes.
And just forgot about the corner.
Right. Yep.
Entirely.
Ian kind of went where Colby was last round, just a little farther back.
Yeah, he's throwing at like the leftmost part of your screen here, just at the pin.
Yeah.
Willie with a great correction after last round. He's going to be a kiss long, but, I mean, he hit that gap really well. It's so hard to stall that disc that much. Because you want to throw really, really, really high, but there's a ceiling, too, so...
They went the same place Colby was last round, just farther back. This looks really good. I don't think this is a driver either. It's slow enough to... Oh, I spoke too early.
I mean, unfortunately, that's a great shot that it caught a tree.
Right.
So Scott's got the Undertaker in his hand, and none of us really know what's going on. And he just takes the same line as everyone else with the opposite spin, and...
What the heck?
He sort of almost aces it, or like an ace run, but that tree is so in the way of his line that you can never really get to the basket. But if the tree wasn't there, which doesn't really make sense, it was going at the basket for sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of on the Anheuser spike. It's almost like a roller that kind of hits the ground a little softer. Really, really high level shot that the all-around players never really get to develop.
Joe with his half run. Ian also half run, kind of like restricted from giving it a full run. Willie here, he can run this. Knee deep in poison ivy.
Now, Willie and Joe are at the point where they have to run everything, and
yes.
Willie converting on a huge birdie putt to keep himself even in the conversation.
Let's run that one back. That was so pretty. Catches that last couple chains.
Poison ivy everywhere. He's just digging his hands right in it. You got to do what you got to do to take the two. Scott absolutely parked.
I mean,
with
this
the
is
most ridiculous shot.
Yeah, that's just the most insane thing ever. Like having a 15-footer on a hole that no one else can get inside of, and bing, bang, boom, there he goes. And we actually also had. This is not going to be a surprise when I tell you. Patrick also birdied this.
The other forehand guy.
Yeah.
Great. Those are the 3 birdies, the 2 we saw here.
Yep. And Patrick getting it. And Scott had it last round. Those are the 4 birdies.
Incredible.
Hole 9, 410 feet. The ceiling is what you need to avoid here. Throwing low and using the ground to get as far up as possible is your best chance. Donnie, you talked about this last time, where the green is very protected here with all these like little skinny trees. So even if you get up into the circle, you don't guarantee yourself having a solid putt at this. You just kind of get what you get, and hopefully we can see another birdie here. Willie's going to start us off here. He's got his sweatshirt back on since hole 7 because that wind chilled him down a little bit. He's just like Andrew Marweed.
He gets cold in
so
70-degree weather.
Yeah.
And just in the morning, he has cold fingers and has some trouble getting a release on the putt.
He's circle 2 there. We're going to see a forehand here. Sure are.
Yep, throwing his felon because that's the only disc he knows that can go kind of far.
Wow.
Just penetrating. He's going to end up a little left, which is not what he expected at all. But
yeah, felons are much more stable, aren't they?
I don't know if it is for him. It doesn't look like, he's kind of got, he kind of swings all 4 of his limbs about when he's going to throw his forehand, but it comes out of his hand with so much spin. It's crazy. Beautiful turnover here.
He's a stable
kind of opening up that right side of the fairway late.
Oh my!
From Joe here.
If he was a foot and a half to the left, that's exactly the play that you would want to scoot it up to give it a chance. Ian with his favorite disc again, the polecat, and he's gonna put that right there. That's textbook.
Yeah, I think Ian's really playing this one for 3.
Yeah,
he'd love to take a 2, but knows it isn't really gonna happen.
Scott having to go with roller here. It was such in a bad spot.
And that's his putting putter, too.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. We got Joe here in his upshot.
Real high opportunity.
Yeah, gave it a bid, but those last 2 guardian trees couldn't get past him, and he's going to be parked for his par. Come on.
Willie with a huge look for a 2 opportunity. Can't quite make it happen. We're going to get a bunch of 3s from this card. Scott's with really the only tester here.
Yeah.
He's letting everyone tap in while he makes his way up.
Yeah, he's still walking up to his disc at this point.
Yeah, he had to find his way out of the woods, and then he's also above the basket.
This is a tough spot. You can't really see it. There's a tree in front of him.
Oh.
Yeah.
For It looks so good.
That's unfortunate from him. He's going to drop himself back down to par. He's had such a Christmas round.
Yeah, not one par on the front nine.
Yeah.
Not the way we drew it up, but.
Gonna shoot par overall for that front nine. Willie was also struggling. A lot of pars here on this front nine from everyone. Ian with the 2 birdies is the clean card on our lead card right now, and he is still leading the tournament actually by several strokes at this point. I think Willie is the chase card at this point, second place alone. I think he's tied with Patrick at this point. So lots of disc golf still to play here. You never know what might happen on the back nine, but super excited to see how this is going to conclude, if Ian can keep this hot streak going. And thanks again to our Patreon supporters, and we'll see you guys on the back nine at the conclusion of this tournament.